Do you all remember in that first debate in 2015 with Stephen Harper, Thomas Mulcair, and Justin the Long-Haired macdaddy Trudeau? And the macdaddy he made his closing remarks, and he stated that, if you have to be prime minister, you have to love Canada. You have to feel it in your bones. You have to feel it in your flesh and all this sort of stuff. You all remember when he said that and everybody mocked him for it? Well, the thing about it is that people always tell me, oh, Donald Trump, he's such a horrible person. Look at what he's doing. He's crazy. And I tell them, I sometimes, depending on what mood I am, I won't tell them that I'm outwardly, listen, I love Donald Trump. I love this man. If I'm just in a mood to just be chill and have good vibes around me and not in any mood for confrontation. But I will say to them, I'd rather have somebody who loves their country and who wraps themselves around the flag than someone who puts other countries before their own country. And that's what the macdaddy does. Justin Trudeau, he has put every other country, just about, including recently the United States. He has put every other country before Canada. But that's another topic for another video. The thing I want to say is that a majority of Canadians, from New Brunswick to Saskatchewan, Quebec, Ontario, a majority of Canadians have now, effective as of yesterday, have turned their back on the politics of Justin the Long-Haired macdaddy Trudeau, son of Satan. They have turned their back on globalism. They have turned their back on liberal elitism. They've turned their back on putting other countries before their own. The provinces of Canada, a majority of them, Quebec, just last night, elected a province-first government, CAQ, I wouldn't say nationalist, but regionalist, populist, to the right government, Francois Legault. And the Iranian nation endorsed Francois Legault and the CAQ and was happy. Ontario recently elected my man Doug Ford, and the Iranian nation worked hard for Doug Ford. Saskatchewan, the Saskatchewan Party. New Brunswick. Not only did the New Brunswick right now it's a minority, but that's not a surprise. Having a conservative, and not just conservative, but populist government in a place like New Brunswick would be like having that in Connecticut or Rhode Island, one of those establishment northeastern states. But New Brunswick did something very interesting. Yes, they elected a majority, not a majority. They wanted to vote in a progressive conservative government, but they elected a PC minority government because I'm sure the people in New Brunswick said, well, we like the PCs and all, but, we need to keep them in check because these Eastern PC parties, they're very left, they're pretty much centrist. They're not province first, the country first. They kind of act like the liberals, but they call themselves PC. So we're going to put the People's Alliance to keep a check on them, which is a province first populist government. So it's not just conservatives that are being voted in, but populist, country first, province first type of governments that are being elected all over this country. But the point I'm making is that a majority of Canadians have turned their backs on the Long-Haired macdaddy. If we are smart enough, which I don't think we are, and I'm talking to you conservatives, and I'll tell you why, but if we're smart, then 2019 could be the biggest butt whooping that the macdaddy has ever received in his life. Even worse than when his mama gave him a good butt whooping at 2 years old when he went into the cookie jar. This is literally, he's going to be dragged to the woodshed and being torn up with a big leather belt until his skin peels off by the people of Canada. It could be a massive, massive butt whooping. If all the people who voted for the CAQ in Quebec voted for, let's say, the Conservatives in 2019, if all the people in Ontario who voted for my man Doug Ford and the PCs vote Conservative in 2019, if all the people in Manitoba voted for the peace, who voted for the PCs way back when, voted Conservative in 2019. If all the people in Alberta who plan on voting for the UCP, who I'm just going to say, let's just say it, they're going to win big. I mean, that's in the bag. But if all of them who plan on voting for Jason Kenney vote for the Conservative in 2019, that's a massive, huge, beautiful landslide against the long-haired Mac that it would be finished. He would never show his face in politics again. He wouldn't dare. He would go sit on the side of the road and he would start shining shoes and collecting garbage just to make a living, providing that his trust fund money hasn't run out yet. Which, I mean, how long has his daddy died for? It's been 2000. I mean, I'm sure that trust fund money has run out by now. But the thing is, the only thing that's stopping it, you can't blame the few whores that are still wrapped around the Mac Daddy's finger. You can't blame them. There ain't enough of them. There's not enough. There are not enough Trudeau supporters for him to win outright. There's not enough of them. Most of the whores that voted for him in 2015 have been transformed, or they are being macked by the NDP, which is being macked by the Liberals. The NDP is being macked by the Liberals, so I guess you could still say they're being macked by the Trudeau, but not directly. Or they have decided to go with the Conservatives. There's not enough Trudeau whores out there. It's done. It's over for him. But the only thing stopping a massive butt skin whooping in the woodshed to the long-haired Mac Daddy is you stupid, foolish, dumb Conservatives who are splitting up all over. Now let me explain something. Y'all get mad. Y'all start cussing. Maxime Byrne, yeah, he's gonna win. I'm telling you, he's not gonna win. He's not gonna win. It's not gonna happen. I'm telling you, he would have. You would have seen some sign of it in the polls by now. And yeah, you can say the polls are fake. Yes, they are fake, and I agree with you. But they're not going to be that fake where he's not going to be even on the radar. I mean, Trump at least was on the radar. Brexit was at least on the radar. Even Faith Goldie, who I interviewed, which was a great success, and everybody loves it, and they're thanking me for it, even she's on the radar. Maxime Bernier's new party is not even on the damn radar. It's gone. It's like not even the Libertarians are probably going to do better than Maxime. But the thing about it is that, and God bless it too, because the better he does, the better Trudeau's going to do. I'm just telling you that right now. The better Maxime does, there's no way he's going to, but let me tell you something. Let me tell you something here. I understand. And I'm not a fan of Andrew Scheer. I'm not even a registered conservative. I was the one who supported Maxime Bernier when everybody was there telling me, how are you supporting another Frenchman? Vote for this Andrew Scheer. He's not French like Maxime Bernier. He looks like my daddy and my granddaddy and my old stock ancestors. Vote for him, not this Frenchman. Oh, even though the French came before the English, I don't want no more French. You know, these shallow reasons not to vote for Maxime. And I said, I'm voting for Maxime because he is the one who is the most populist, the most country first, with the good ideas. I mean, I don't agree with him on everything, but that's the one who I put first on my ballot. I'm not a butt kisser of the Conservatives or a registered conservative. I mean, I would dump the Conservatives in a minute, but it has to be something lethal for me to say, you know what, I give up on the Conservatives. It's not going to happen. Most of the time, you can fix these things internally. And I told this Stephen Faith Goldie. I told it to her. And she agreed with me. Well, I think she did. I don't know. I mean, she said yes and other stuff like that. But Maxime Bernier should have tried to deal with Andrew Scheer within the Conservative Party. Making another party, it rarely ever works. And that is like the last resort. That's like when you've tried everything and nothing else is going to work, and you know you're going to lose. Just like when Patrick Brown was there, and everybody tried everything. We tried to get rid of it. We tried, and I just said to myself, you know what? We're going to lose anyway with Patrick Brown. I'm going to go for Trillium. And then Doug Ford came in, and Patrick Brown was thrown out, and Doug Ford came in, and look what happened. things usually work out. And he would have won even better if the Trillium Party wasn't there. He would have won a lot more Scarborough seats. So that's the thing. Making another party is a last resort. And Maxime Bernier likes to talk about, look what happened in France with Macron. He created a new party. But the thing is France has a different electoral system. They have runoff elections. So if nobody gets a majority of the vote in the first round, the top two go into the second round. So it's easier for people to make new parties because people have more faith in voting for new parties because they feel, okay, if this party doesn't work the first time, I'll go for something else the second time. We only have one election in Canada. So it almost never works. In America, in Canada, in England, it never works because our electoral system isn't designed for too many different parties. It just doesn't work. It's not going to work. So that's the only thing stopping the ultimate humiliation of the long-haired Mac Daddy Justin Trudeau, son of Satan, who I have been dead against from the very, very beginning. And I knew he was going to be a Mac Daddy, and I called him a Mac Daddy the moment he set foot on the national scene. I told it, I called it, I told you Canadians you didn't have it any better than you did with Harper, the richest middle class, low taxes, jobs left, right, and center, and you took it and you threw it all away off with this long-haired son of Satan. I'm going to legalize marijuana. Mac Daddy, and marijuana isn't even all that legalized yet. Yes, it's legalized, but not as legal as beer or cigarettes. You try and bring a truckload of marijuana into Canada and see what will happen to you. And you bring alcohol, and it's a totally different thing. It's like nothing ever happened. So it's not even legalized yet. Y'all didn't even get that fully. But the thing I'm trying to make is that a majority of Canadians are sick of Justin the long-haired Mac Daddy Trudeau. Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. They still got some work to do. PEI, y'all still got some work to do. Newfoundland, I don't know. There's going to be an election next year. We'll see what happens. British Columbia, they're all sick. A majority of Canadians want to get rid of Justin the long-haired Mac Daddy Trudeau, and he's not going to come anywhere close to winning what he did in 2015. And he could be deeply humiliated if only we keep our senses. If only. But if we don't, he's going to win with the few little left behind Trudeau whores that he's got there. Those few little boys and girls that he's got there who still are hanging on to the Mac Daddy and are still being pimped out. Those few will, they won't win it for him. But it's going to be us, the patriots, the majority who want a country first government, real Canadian Canuck government. We who split up and who don't work together to try and destroy the son of Satan. Instead, we're destroying ourselves. We're the ones who are going to make the Mac Daddy win again. We should stop fighting with each other. We all want the same thing. Now, I know Andrew Scheer isn't perfect. I know that. I told you that too when you all were telling me don't vote for a Frenchman. I told you that. But he's what we have now. And if you want to do something about it, we need to get him, we need to deal with him inside the party, internally, like what Boris Johnson is doing in the UK. You don't see him forming a new party because he has more sense. He's going to deal with Theresa May internally. But if we fight ourselves, the majority of Canadians who want change, real Canadian patriotic change, if we fight ourselves, the Mac Daddy and his whores are going to win again. And I am Michael Arana. And this is the Arana Nation.